Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hope you guys are well. Something a little bit different in this video. Now, we don't usually talk about other YouTubers. It's not my thing. I like to keep it boxing on this channel, to be honest with you. And if you don't believe me, if you're new here and you've just clicked on this video because of the title, well, as Nate Diaz would say, check my lineup, bitch. Look at all the videos I've done, I always keep it boxing. I've only ever made 2 videos about another YouTuber, and that was really because I noticed a few of his fanboys drifting over to this channel, and I didn't appreciate them. And I know where they came from, so I made a video about it. And this video is a bit different, but something that I wanted to talk about. So if you're just going to come over here and say, well, you're just clout chasing, go and suck a dick, because that's obviously what you're good at, if that's the type of guy you follow. But, I noticed a few people in my sub box create videos about a guy by the name of Fred, or Barbershop Conversations. And this gentleman essentially is an Haymon fanboy, and he made a video essentially moaning about not getting press passes. And in the video, it was like a heartfelt letter to a female that rejected him. It was quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. And bear in mind, this video was directed at another man that he's never met, and he was on some personal shit, like the guy, scorned him in some way, Hell have no fury like a fangirl scorned, right? It was absolutely embarrassing, and Fred Hawthorne, aka Barbershop Conversations, it just really, it's a lesson in why you shouldn't be a fanboy, particularly these YouTube uploaders who always seem to have a side in which they lie, whether that is pro-PBC, anti-PBC, pro-Eddie Hearn, anti-Eddie Hearn. A lot of these YouTubers always have an angle in which they work towards, and the danger of that is that you get your heart broken like this clown Fred, and good old Fred was basically heartbroken because the PBC, Al Haymon and Kelly Swanson are not granting him press passes or media accreditation, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, basically he made a 30, 40, 50 minute video ranting about, how he is seeking out the truth and that he's pro-PBC, that he protects Al Haymon and that he deserved better. I am paraphrasing, don't get me wrong, but that's essentially the video he made. And it just came across extremely corny and embarrassing. If I was him or close to him, well, if I was close to him, I would certainly advise him to take that video down because it's extremely embarrassing. Do you ever have it when you're talking to a chick, right? And you talk to the chick knowing you're not really interested. However, you still go along with it just because, it's something to do, right? We've all been there when we talk to a chick where we have no interest in, but we still go along with it. And, when she decides to try and get close, or when she tries to make those moves, you kind of reject her, push her back, and at that point she's like a woman scorned, right? She's upset, she's angry, and, she basically unravels and becomes an emotional wreck. That's essentially what Fred did in this video, All of his time, all of his videos, all of these months, all of these years protecting Al Haymon and, being pro-PBC, and he's still not got a press pass. And essentially he was extremely upset and devastated about that situation, and the way he handled it was nothing short of embarrassing. And quite frankly, people like that shouldn't get press passes because, if we're being honest, I know reporters and journalists aren't always the most trustworthy individuals, but a good journalist or a good news reporter should always be impartial, and this guy is not impartial. He's seeking his truth. He mentioned in his video he was seeking the truth. No, he's seeking his truth, and he's seeking to validate his own kind of personal biases. He's not seeking the truth at all. And, he's extremely biased. He won't have anything bad to say against the fighters he likes, and there's numerous examples of this. And to be quite honest, it's good that people like this don't get press passes because the guy's an absolute buffoon, the guy's an absolute idiot. And listen, He can flex as much as he wants. You know, maybe he is a millionaire. Fair play to him if that's the case. But you're still a simp. Whether you're a millionaire or whether you have $1 in the bank, whether those degrees on the wall are real, it's all irrelevant. You're still a simp. No amount of money will change that. And that's the reason he always brings up, you know, money when he goes on points like this, because he knows himself he can't really validate it with any real boxing knowledge. And he knows himself that he's an emotional fanboy, so he's got no other way to validate himself other than bringing up his financial status, whether that's true or not. If it is true, again, all of the credit to him, but like I said, doesn't change the fact that the guy's a fangirl and he's moving like a 13-year-old Justin Bieber fan. You know, he's a waste man, as we say over here. The video he made was nothing short of embarrassing, and it should be a lesson to other YouTubers. You know, if you make videos catering to one side, then you're doing something wrong, man. We're all supposed to be boxing fans here. We're all supposed to be boxing fans. Who gives a fuck who puts on the fights unless we get the fights? I don't care whether PBC, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, Frank Warren put on fights. If it's a good fight, it's a good fight, and I'll be interested. You know, Teofimo Lopez versus Richard Comey, top rank fight, excellent fight, love it. Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua 2, matchroom fight, love it, interested. Tony Harrison versus Jamel Charlo 2, PBC fight, interested, love it. If you put on a good fight that I like, I'll give you credit. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should be for any boxing fan and for any YouTube boxing uploader. But a lot of these guys, you know, they're basically mouthpieces. And this video just exposes that. You know, the video that Fred put up. Maybe he wasn't directly paid by Al Haymon and the PBC, but you know, he's certainly making those videos to get somewhere within that organisation, to get a press pass. I mean, that was the whole gripe of his video. And a lot of these dudes, man, are not trustworthy. They have no integrity. They don't have any integrity. They have very little boxing knowledge. And that's not a crime, by the way. It doesn't really matter what boxing knowledge you have. You know, we've got to start somewhere. And if you take an interest in boxing, there's nothing that should stop you uploading videos. There's nothing to stop you, but at least have some integrity. And, you know, people like Fred, they don't have that. And, you know, he's basically paying the price for that now. When you sell yourself out, eventually it's going to come back and bite you on the arse. And now he realises, you know, that he's essentially a useful idiot. He's been cast aside like a cheap whore. And we all do that to females. I'm not going to try and be a fucking misogynistic prick, but that's true, innit? You know, we all get with girls who we have no interest with, like I said earlier. You know, just to kind of string them along, maybe have a bit of fun. And when we're done, we're done. And, you know, they, as a result, are usually pretty devastated, right? That's how Fred came off in this video. And, you know, for a guy who's educated and financially secure and he's living his best life, you know, that's quite embarrassing. It's really a sign of mental immaturity. And he really needs to grow up, as far as I'm concerned. It was quite sad, actually, watching that video. I'm not trying to, like, pity the dude. I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to downplay the dude, but the video was really, really concerning, in my opinion, you know? Just bearing his soul over something as trivial as that. You know, for a guy that's got everything going well in his life, just didn't really ring true to me. You know, I know a few people out there who run businesses and who are doing very well, and they wouldn't do things like that. So it kind of makes you wonder, maybe the guy's doing as well as he says he is, but, you know, the guy's clearly not in a great space if he's kind of getting that emotional about something like that, if it's concerning him to that degree. Just a really, really strange video. And yeah, I don't usually click on those type of videos, like I said, but something implored me to click on it because of a couple of videos I saw in my sub inbox, you know, responding to it, and I clicked on it. And quite frankly, I was left flabbergasted by what he was saying and how he was saying it and the emotions he was conveying to the camera. Just extremely, extremely strange. You know, I long for the days of the old YTBC where basically people just made fight predictions, post-fight reviews, And, they just talked about the general news in boxing, with maybe a bit of historical content thrown in here and there. That's all the YTBC was at one point, but these days you've got people trying to make it about themselves. They try to play one particular angle to build a fan base, and a lot of these people are not about boxing. This Fred guy, prime example. These guys are not about promoting boxing. They're not here to talk about boxing. All they are here for is to further their own agenda, whether that is their hustle or whether that is, something more personal than that, like Fred. He's not really seeking the boxing game out for money, or so he says. He's seeking out for something a lot more personal. That's what it seems like anyway. But a lot of other dudes are out here trying to make a hustle. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that at all. If you can make money on this shit, more the power to you. But at least have some integrity. That's my problem. A lot of these guys just tell barefaced lies, or they ignore truths that are not convenient to their narratives. And listen, man, it's quite embarrassing. It's quite embarrassing. It's not just the LDBC either. And I believe Fred is part of that organisation. It's not just the LDBC. I would like to stress that. A lot of people on here have a particular angle, whether it's anti a certain promoter, whether it's pro a certain promoter. Very few people on here, just keep it boxing. And, I've come to notice that, especially in the last few months. And it's really tiresome. It's really tiresome. I mean, ultimately, these big channels, they control, the type of content that is popular. So, it's not going to change anytime soon. So, I'm kind of beating a dead horse, I guess. But, yeah, I'm just getting a bit tired of it. So, I'll keep my boxing content the same as it is. Maybe we'll throw one of these videos in here and there, but yeah, I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts on this topic. I really am. But, it goes to show, like I said, being a fanboy in boxing, especially if you're an uploader, doesn't really work, man. It doesn't really work. I don't get how you can enjoy boxing with that mindset. Bringing all those personal emotions into boxing. I don't get how you can enjoy the sport like that. I really don't. I watch boxing to get away from real life. It's like an escape for me. It's one of my hobbies is to watch boxing. And I watch boxing to escape. It's one of the things I like to do, to watch boxing and, train myself. Not to a good level. I mean, I only spar, but that's what I enjoy doing. And I couldn't imagine bringing my personal angst into one of my hobbies. A hobby is something that is supposed to, relax you. It's supposed to be therapeutic, almost like a meditation purpose. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be done in your own time. It's supposed to be done to relax. And you can't really relax if you're pent up with your personal emotions. So I don't really get a lot of these guys who upload videos. I'll be completely honest about it. And if you think that relates to you, chances are it relates to you. So, those are my 2 cents on this whole situation. To summarise, I felt the video was embarrassing, but at the same time, a bit sad and quite concerning, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to sit here and, cuss the guy out, but yeah, this is the YouTube boxing community. This is the state we're in, and it's any wonder why certain people don't get press passes when this